This spring, I'm going to be working guided bill fishing trips in the Galapagos with none other than Jamie Melvin. Today's episode, we're going to break down exactly what that means, who Jamie is, what it's going to look like, and why you are not going to want to miss this opportunity. Welcome to the Sawyer Podcast. I'm your host, Katie, and today I'm sitting down with a friend that I'm going to be partnering with on some really cool adventures we want to throw your way. Jamie Melvin, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. Tell us where you're tuning in from and a little bit about you as a fisherman.
Hi, Katie. I'm in London at the moment. So I am a fly fisherman and offshore fisherman by trade, and I kind of specialize in billfish on fly. So that's my main thing at the moment.
Tell us a little bit about where you're from, because although you're tuning in from the UK, that is not where you grew up. And I want to hear, your fly fishing guide for billfish, which in itself is really cool. You don't see a lot of that in the industry, and I kind of want to hear how you got into that. Like, what made you start fishing offshore?
So I grew up in Kenya. That's where I was from. That's where I was born. And I'm in a family of fishermen, my dad and my uncle, cousin, and my grandpa. And we used to go out fishing in like just a little rubber duck with a 25 horsepower engine to go to Kenya. Spend our time in the mountains and in Nairobi catching trout on fly rods. So that's kind of how I grew up fishing.
So, a rubber duck. I'm assuming that is an inflatable dinghy, and you were going offshore in it to fish for billfish?
Yeah. It's just like an inflatable Zodiac with a 25 horsepower on the back, like tiller handle. We had to upgrade because we almost popped the boat when we called it tailfit. So it was like the safety concern of mum screaming at dad, safer, get a boat that doesn't burst. I think.
Yeah, I bet mom wasn't super happy about that, but you got to upgrade, which is pretty cool. I just love this concept of fishing off the coast of Kenya with a tiller handle, 25 horsepower motor in an inflatable boat. I think that is something I would like to partake in one day, but only once, because like you said, there's a significant danger of that raft. I'm going to call it a raft. That rubber duck getting punctured by a billfish bill. So that's pretty cool. So how old were you when you started fishing offshore? Was your dad a recreational angler or a charter? Or I'm guessing recreational just because of the type of boat we're discussing.
Yeah, we weren't taking clients out in a rubber duck. So I was about 3 or 4 years old when I started to go out. So I was kind of strapped to the boat with a life jacket on. We went. That's when it started.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were done.
No. Go.
The cadence is so different. I had Kelly Dowling-Fallon on the other day. She's Australian, and her cadence is also very different than my cadence. So, like, I noticed we were almost talking over each other a lot, and it was not intentional. I do it with you too. It's just a conversationally different culture, which I find fascinating. But on Kenya, so is that the southern hemisphere, or where
Kenya's
is that
right
exactly?
on the equator, on East Africa, so in the Indian Ocean. Yeah.
So right on the equator. I did it again. Drake and I actually spent our honeymoon in Tanzania, which is just south, for the listener, just south of Kenya. We were hunting dogtooth tuna. Spearfishing for dogtooth tuna out there. It was incredible. Got some jobbies too, jobfish. That was the first time I'd ever seen or tasted those. They were absolutely delicious. It was a really cool fishery. It was the only time I've ever been in the Indian Ocean. I cannot wait to go back to the Indian Ocean because it's really a magical place. Like, I was just snorkeling off the beach on the reef, seeing clownfish. Like, that was so cool to me. Like, look, I'd never seen clownfish in the wild before. I don't know. I guess that's cool. Not that cool, but to me, it was really cool.
It's always very cool the first time.
the first time. So, in Kenya, how far offshore are you going to catch billfish? And what billfish species are there off the coast? Is it seasonal? What does that look like?
So Kenya is one of the only places in the world you can actually get a fantasy slam. So we've got sailfish, striped marlin, blue marlin, black marlin, and swordfish. So they kind of come through in the dry season. So kind of starting in a couple of weeks, the sailfish will start arriving in the north, migrate down the coast south. And that happens until they run all year, but that big migration runs to about December. Then December through to March is our marlin season. So all the marlin are in play, blue, black stripes. And the boardbill are kind of always there. So, yeah, very cool.
That's cool. And how far off the coast are you going? And how deep is the water you're fishing?
So it depends on which part of Kenya you're fishing out of. Generally, we're pushing to about 18 to 22 miles for the marlin fishing. We're fishing seamounts that kind of come up from about 500 meters to about 200. There's a series of mountains out there. Then if you get further north, you kind of get off the intercontinental ledge there. That gets a bit deeper on that side. Yeah. Range.
That's cool. It's still really close. And since you're on the equator, you don't have your like spring, summer, fall, winter seasons. You have, I'm assuming it's like Panama, Ecuador. You have a wet and dry season.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
And so what I find interesting is that when we are fishing Panama or even more so in Costa Rica with the seamounts out there, the rainy season is in the summertime. And that's when we'll get those blue marlin coming in. But you said that for you, the bigger marlin, they're more focused December through, I think you said April.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is like, winter into spring. That's dry season, right?
Yeah, that's our dry season. So in the off season, in the wet season, you get a really big southerly wind, the South Monsoon. So you get all this cold current and cold water and cold wind pushing up. The winds are kind of 26 to 35 knots every day. A lot of rain, not really conditions you want to be fishing in. The water gets dirty because all the rivers are pumping out. So, kind of just time to fix your boat, do your maintenance.
There you go. And especially since you're fishing so close to shore. I mean, 18, 20 miles is really, really close. Like here in South Texas, I often can't even get to blue water at 18, 20 miles. So that's cool. And in Costa Rica, those fish, when we're marlin fishing, we're fishing quite a bit further from shore, anywhere from 80 to 130 miles. So the runoff from the rivers, it's not really affecting the water clarity quite like it does in Kenya. Okay, cool. So you were telling us a little bit about your story, where you started fishing, how you got into fishing. You were freshwater fishing as well as saltwater fishing with your family. What brought the fly fishing dynamic into it?
So my dad taught me how to fly fish when I was 3. So kind of put a flower in my hand, like sitting on his shoulders, casting flies into little rivers in Kenya which had trout in them.
That is so cool.
That was half of the fishing journey there, and the other half at the beach. So we spent our holidays. That time off.
Were y'all fishing? Were y'all fly fishing for billfish in the Zodiac, or
no,
were you
not at all. No,
conventional.
Okay, that was. I don't think anyone even knew you could do that in Kenya in 1990.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, very few people. I feel like very few people know you can fly fish for billfish today. Like we've done it a handful of times on the boats I've worked on. I always get really excited when the guest wants to fly fish because I think it's a really cool dynamic. There's a lot to be said about fly fishing for billfish. Do you want to tell the listener a little bit about that if they've never even heard of it or seen it? Like give us a little bit of a rundown of what that looks like to fly fish on a sport fishing boat for such big fish.
Yes, I think we just look at how you're just kind of pulling lures. So just now you're going to take, one outrigger and put it up, whichever, so if you're right-handed, the port outrigger's going up so that you cast kind of without the outrigger behind you, otherwise it's going to be a problem. And then you're pulling just straight teasers with bait on the other lures. They can just be bait, or you can have bait in lures, obviously without hooks. And then it's all about the tease. So you got to find the fish, and then you got to tease them right up to the boat. At that point, we're going to neutral, and then the angler casts his fly across the wash to the other side where the teasers were, and got a strip and put that fish. I'll make it sound very simple, but it's obviously there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, there is a lot going on there, you guys. Which is one of the reasons why I love it so much, honestly, because, bill fishing, you've heard me say it before a million times, I'm sure. It's a team sport. There's a lot of moving parts while you're bill fishing, whether you're pulling lures or bait and switch or trolling dead baits. Like there's always something that needs to be built off of what the angler's doing, what the mate's doing, what the captain's doing, everything, right? But when fly fishing, it kind of just gets like put under a really big microscope, and it just gets really, really crazy, really fast. And everybody has to do exactly what they need to do to make that bite successful. And not only the bite successful, but to actually land that fish on a fly rod is a whole different story. But, Jamie talks about teasing the fish. It's all about teasing the fish to the boat before the angler can even do anything. And that's like one of my favorite things, because if you're teasing too fast, you're going to lose the fish. If you're teasing too slow, you're going to lose the fish. If the fish gets a bite on the teaser, especially if it's artificial, it's just going to be like, no, I don't want that. I'm out. Like disinterest really, really quickly.
Yeah, so once you find a fish, you've got to be on it, right? So the captain's upstairs; he can see a lot more than anyone can see on the ground, on the deck even. And then once that fish is on the teaser, you've really got to play with him. You've really got to make him angry, right? The more angry you make this fish, the more likely he's going to stick around, and the more likely he's going to eat the fly. But you've got to do it as a team, right? It's kind of a bit of a symphony, and the captain's kind of conducting. He's bringing the teasers, but also you've got 3 teasers out, so everyone needs to bring their teasers in together. There's as many baits in the water as possible to keep that fish angry. It might switch from one rod to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. You've got to kind of get that fish, 2 meters from the transom. That's what you're aiming for. And at that point, the captain does neutral, and the angler puts the fly in the water. But just putting the fly in the water is another thing. I mean, I've seen a lot of billfish, and I still get pumped up, like standing there holding my fly in my hand, and I'm watching this marlin come in on the teaser like a crazy creature. It's like, it's like a lifetime moment. Like you don't get to do this very much, and it's really important to get it right. And the nerves, and you're shaking, and just to have the composure to get it right and make that cast, strip and not get a tangle or not step on your line or miss the set. All of those things are so important just to hook the fish. And then once you're hooked up, staying attached is one thing, getting your line back. And, we're doing this all with 20-pound tippet. So set too hard, it snaps. Get a tangle, it snaps. Get a pinch of braid in the backing, snaps. So, got to, it's not easy, but it can be easy if you do it right. It's got to have a good team.
If everyone's doing it right?
Exactly, yeah. It's about the whole team doing it right, yeah.
And as a well-oiled machine. And, Jamie's mentioned a couple times that the boat goes in neutral once the angler, to allow for the angler to cast the fly out. That's really important. That's IGFA, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a fly caught fish if you're not in neutral, you cast the fly. You see quite a lot of videos on Instagram of guys trolling flies and stuff. No, that's not fly fishing.
That's not.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't count. Sorry. Congratulations. You caught it on a 20-pound tippet. That's already pretty cool.
And you pitched a fly. That's pretty cool.
But to me, that's like really why I get so excited when someone wants to fly fish, because you guys, seeing a fish lit up behind the boat on the teaser, mad at it, like you said, Jamie, like these, you want to get these fish angry so that they come in, so they want to eat. It's just like elk hunting. You want to get that elk angry so that he comes in charging, like, excuse me, these are my cows, you know? Sorry, I just got out of elk hunt and pretty been up on it, but I love the similarities here.
Yeah.
So you want to get this fish angry. You want it to eat aggressively. And what's so special is the fact that they put the boat in neutral, that the captain puts the boat in neutral for that bite, which means there's no wash behind the boat. So suddenly you have blue, gorgeous water and a very lit up billfish, 2 meters, 6 foot behind the boat, piling on a fly. And it is like, that is, to me, one of the coolest things I have ever seen every single time I see it, because these fish get so lit up. You just don't see that. You just don't see that in any other aspect of fishing. You know, like, I mean, you can see them lit up. You can see these sick bites, and trust me, like that's what I live for. Like, I am not a fly fisherman, but when I get to see a fish eat on a fly rod, that is just, it's a really cool thing. So you mentioned that you are a fly guide on these bill fishing boats. You and I were actually going to be working together this spring in the Galapagos, which is really insane. I'm so excited. The Galapagos, you guys, if you don't know, it is a natural wonderland. Like, it is an incredible place because of the ecosystem, because of the protection that's been put around it for so long. And Jamie, can you tell us a little bit about that? How long have you been guiding trips out of the Galapagos, and what's it look like to fish out of there?
So next year will be my 3rd year in Galapagos. The first time I went there, I thought I'd stepped into a whole nother place. Oh, it's such a special place. The fishing, especially the striped marlin fishing, is out of this world. There's so many fish there. I think we raised, our first day of fishing, we raised a marlin every 20 minutes. 20 in the day. Yeah, pretty epic fishing. Super special.
You average 20 striped marlin in a day, right?
On the teasers, average. Yeah.
On the teasers. And how big are these striped marlin?
They're not small. They average around 200 to 250.
Holy cow.
Push up to 350. Rarely see one under 200.
That's big.
Yeah, they're not small fish. They're big striped fish. Yeah. It's quite hard to, if you're not good at IDing billfish, you're gonna call them blue marlin if you don't know what to look.
Because they're so thick.
Yeah, they're just, you're not used to seeing striped marlin that big. Unless you're from New Zealand, probably. Yeah.
Unless you're from New Zealand.
Shout
out New Zealand.
Yeah.
So, my striped marlin fishery has been in the past Magdalena Bay, right? Off of Baja. And it is an incredible fishery. It can be really, really, really good. Those fish are not quite that big, but you can definitely get 20 plus day bites out at mags and more if the fish are really eating. But to have striped marlin that large and consistently averaging at 20 fish on the teaser, because you're fly fishing, right? So if you get a fish on the fly, how long does it take to catch that fish generally?
45 minutes to an hour, depending on the fish's behavior. Sometimes they're very, conducive and they stay up, and as soon as they go down, you gotta start playing angles with the boat. Fly rods aren't strong things, so you just point the rod at the fish and use the reel, bending the rod at all. Because that is
so cool.
It won't make a difference to anything. You can't lift that rod up. So the boat does a lot of work. The captain is really important. He works very hard for that hour. Yeah.
Yeah. I bet he does. And, like, I mean, imagine if you're trolling dead baits, like how many bites you would get in a day. Like that's
you
just
only
crazy
troll,
to me.
You only troll 3 or 4 baits because, you're ending up with 4 fish on the line. Like, triple ups are hard enough. Like, I think we need to stop there. I need 4.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, no, seriously.
Yeah.
And that's regular. I mean, I just keep going back to this whole, like, on average, this is what we're seeing a day.
Yeah, on average. Yeah.
That's crazy. So, that is off the island of San Cristobal, right?
That is correct. Yeah. Yeah.
And so the Galapagos.
3 banks off that.
Okay.
3 different
3 banks off of that island.
Yeah.
Sorry, interrupted you again.
It's okay. So there's 3 different banks we fish. They're all about an hour run from the ports. And there the fish will move around. So there's a few other sport boats, so we all work together to know where the bite is. As long as you're on the right bank, you're going to have a pretty serious day.
And as well as San Cristobal Island, there is another island that holds a pretty spectacular amount of fish as well that are quite different. You can catch really big blue marlin in the Galapagos too, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's a really special giant blue marlin fishery island called Isabella. Isabella itself is special. Like the roads are made of sand. There are penguins hunting in the dark. It's just really special. Beautiful volcanoes, sunsets on the beach out of this world. And then you go offshore about 7 miles and you're in 1,000 meters of water. And there's these giant marlin that tend to hang around there. We obviously don't see 20 a day. More like 1s and 2s and 3s. I've never seen a fish under 500 pounds there. That's supposed to be
under 500 pounds.
Yeah.
So they're all 500 up.
Yeah. But I've never seen a smaller one.
That's insane. And what is what's on the higher end? Like what do you think they average weight wise?
So the biggest we've landed, I think, when I was there was 650. We've lost bigger ones, 750. There's the guys who used to run the boat before. They said they lost at 1,200. So there's some the chance of a grand is real. It's special. No other
that
boats
is so
out
cool.
There. Yeah, it's very cool.
So what's really cool is when you look at a satellite imagery of the Galapagos Islands, you see that Isabella has this super steep ledge just off the southern coast of it. That Jamie just mentioned, it drops to 1,000 meters. Is that what you said?
Yeah, 1,000.
That's crazy.
So what you do,
what you have.
So if you go a few more miles out, you're at 4,000. I think. Yeah.
So you have these big girls migrating through in these warm waters in the spring, and then just inshore. So where you have that steep ledge, then you have this bank between the other islands where it's quite a bit shallower, and then you have banks on top of that allow for these striped marlin to congregate, and they're not far. Excuse me. They're not far from each other. They're if somebody wanted to book a trip to go striped marlin fishing for a few days and then also go giant blue marlin fishing, could they do that?
Yeah, so we would fish Isabella, and then we'd fish from Isabella to Floriana for the big blues, spend the night in Floriana, do a little bit of big blues in the morning, and then we'd get to the striped marlin banks, switch up. So pretty nice. And then we finish on San Cristobal Island, so you'll stay in all 3 islands and seeing most of the Galapagos.
And there's only 4 inhabited islands in the Galapagos, correct?
Exactly. And a trip like that, you'll stay on all 4 of them, so you get to see all of them. It's pretty special.
That is really special because there's 2 different airports. And if you want to do a trip like that, what you do is you fly into one airport and you fly out of the other. So there's no going back. There's not a crazy amount of travel. The travel that you're going to be doing is predominantly fishing travel, which is my favorite kind of travel.
You're on the boat. Yeah, exactly. You're not doing anything else.
You're not trudging around on ferries and
no, exactly.
Big transports for a long
Sitting
time at a time.
Airports for internal flights.
Jamie, why don't we ever hear about people fishing the Galapagos? I know that, when you reached out to me to see if I wanted to partner with you, and I also spoke to my friend Peter at the Billfish Foundation, you guys both told me that it's one of the most insane places you've ever been to just because there's so much incredible wildlife and such incredible fishing. So why don't we see people fishing the Galapagos often?
I don't know. I didn't even know that you were allowed to fish there because, it's a totally protected national park and marine reserve. I didn't even know sport fishing was a thing. A friend of mine, Peter, he's been fishing there for 10 years in a row now. And he introduced me to it. She went fishing. He actually invited me on a trip. And that's how I got to see it. And fishing the Galapagos, it was it's the most insane striped marlin on fly fishery in the world. I was like, how have I missed this? Why isn't it publicized? And it's been in Marlin Mag and it's been publicized, but you don't have a subscription and you're not paying attention. You miss these offs.
Yeah,
I actually don't know. It needs to be spoken about more because it is. These boats aren't fully booked. And they should be. So, it's just.
Well, why don't we? But why does it have to be? Tell us a little bit about the policies behind fishing the Galapagos.
Okay,
yeah. Could we bring our U.S. boat over there and set it up? Big old Spencer?
Absolutely not. You're very welcome to bring the boat there and park it in the marina, but you are not allowed to fish whatsoever. So fishing boats, to be a sport fishing boat, the boat has to be Galapagos owned. So it's to be owned by someone from the Galapagos, the captain and crew, everyone working on the boat has to be from the Galapagos.
Not Ecuador.
Not Ecuador. Ecuadorians can't just come and do that. They have to actually be from the Galapagos itself.
From the Galapagos. Wow.
Then you have to have a permit to fish in the catch and release zone. So the catch and release zone is 133,000 square kilometers large. So it runs 40 nautical miles from every point of land in the Galapagos. So it's a huge protected area. And then there's license.
And that permit, is it difficult to get?
It is not easy to get, and it's $30,000 a year to get it. So it's a big chunk of money that goes to protecting the water, so that's excellent. So yeah, it's not an easy place to, you can't just rock up with a boat, you can't just buy a boat and move to the Galapagos, and those options are not available. So that's probably what keeps it so special as well, so well protected.
So well
all catch and release, everything has to be let go. You're allowed to catch 50 pounds. You catch a tuna or a wahoo or a dorado, you're allowed to keep a maximum of 50 pounds of fish a day on sport boats. And
that's enough to feed yourself.
Exactly. There's no fishing is allowed from land in the Galapagos. You can't stand on the rocks and cast the line. That's totally illegal. So it's very well managed, well run. We check out, we radio that we're leaving the port every day. We radio if we come back. And then when we come back, if we're late, we get told off. They're on it.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, it's really, really cool.
The snorkeling must be insane.
Yes, it's very special. Manta rays.
No spearfishing, though.
Turtles, no spearfishing.
But you can snorkel with penguins?
Yeah, and there's about 8 could snorkel with penguins.
Wow.
Cute. Very cool.
What else is there to do there?
You can hike up volcanoes. You snorkel with the swimming iguanas. You can go surfing, go diving. You can go and see all the birds. All the bird colonies like the blue-footed boobies, and it's a never-ending list of exploration stuff. Now, I always tell people who want to come there, spend 2 days after the fishing, actually go do some of that. You're in the Galapagos Islands, you got to take advantage.
Yes. Oh man. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about what we're offering here. So going back to your fly fishing and what it is to be fly fishing for billfish and all of the moving parts within the fishery, within the boat, within the crew, within the team.
Yeah.
What made you want to be a guide instead of running the boat?
So I was a flats guide and offshore skipper at Seychelles, Galapagos Islands. Wow. And so I used to ran the 35-foot offshore boat for them, and then I also guided people on the flats. When you're guiding on the flats, walking with someone, standing next to them, you're like, there's a GT there, or there's a bonefish there, cast here, strip like this, really take them through it. But when you're captaining a boat and trying to guide someone at the same time, it's difficult. And there's a lot going on, and you can't give the angler the same amount of learning and teaching and confidence sitting upstairs or on the wheel while telling the crew what to do, while looking at the fish, while looking at the charts, while making a plan. You just can't give them what they need to really progress. So I thought, well, there's a gap there. Why can't someone else drive the boat? And why can't I be the guide, kind of like you would be a flats guide? When you're waiting on the flats, right. Why can't I stand next to the angler and take through it? And then I could also help with the teasing, the crew, and kind of join the whole team together. Just from a free agent, kind of in the middle. So I kind of came up with all these. With my billfish on fly courses that I run, each day, how to do this all, and take them from conventional fishing up to that. So, yeah, how it came about.
Yes, I love that. So one of my favorite parts of working on a bill fishing boat when I have people come on that are just so interested in learning the ins and outs. That want to get either whether it be get more comfortable holding a rod, or learn how to hook a fish themselves, or learn the different dynamics of feeding a fish and pitching a fish, whatever it might be. Anytime I have someone with interest, it's so cool because you get to really getting to focus on someone in their learning journey and help them progress as an angler is something I've always enjoyed doing. But when I'm working crew, it's really difficult to do that while simultaneously doing all the other things that I'm responsible for doing and watching everything as a whole. So I love that you said that. And I love that you found that there was this missing link in the bill fishing experience, because like you said, there's so many moving parts, whether it be with the fish behind the boat, but also with the mechanics of the boat, with what the crew is doing, with what other boats around you are doing, what the sounder showing, whatever it might be. There's a million different things. You need to be watching your Garmin, you need to be watching your radar, you need to be watching your angler, you need to be watching the fish behind you. So to be able to find that missing piece, I just think that's really cool. So now you offer guided instructional trips to various locations, of which include the Galapagos. But what if you have an angler or a guest that doesn't want to learn anything? Can they still join you?
Absolutely, yeah. They can just fish how they like. It's totally optional to learn everything. It's up to them. I'm not going to shove it down anyone's throat, right? If someone wants to learn, they let me know. And they just want to chill and fish, then they can fish. First thing I ask anyone who gets on the boat, do you want to hook your own fish? And then they're like, oh, I've never done that before. I'm like, do you want me to teach you? And they're like, no, you can do it. Okay, sure. But fun to do it. Good thing to learn. Slowly convince them. Then on day 3, I'm like, you want to use the fly rod? Oh, yeah, okay. Why not? Let's try that. Take them through it gently. It's their day on the boat, right? It's their day on the boat, right? It's their experience. I feel like we're just there to make it better for them. The more engaged they are in the fishing, like you said, I feel like the more they get out of it, the more they understand the fish, where they are, why they're there, how to find them. why we're doing it the way we're doing it. They're going to leave that. I even do that when I take people trout fishing. They on day one they're a bit lost, and on day 3 they're like, I got this. So nice to watch that progression. With the Atlantic. Very nice.
Yes, I love watching that. I had a lady on the boat with me this last fall in Mags when we were striped marlin fishing that I was working with on not only hooking her own fish. She had a really good base knowledge, but what she lacked was confidence, and getting to help her work through that confidence and pitching a fish off the teaser she went on the next week. She won top overall lady angler in a tournament in Guatemala, light tackle fishing. Yeah, it was just so cool to get to experience that. I really enjoyed it, and it set a fire. So when you reached out to me to ask if I would be willing to partner with you in the Galapagos guiding these trips, I'm all about it, because where you bring the fly fishing in, my experience is going to be with light tackle trolling, bait and switch. We also heavy tackle. We'll get into that in a minute, but there's a lot of moving parts. We've talked about this so many times, right, already. But what's so incredible with this fishery specifically is that it allows anybody to step onto the boat and have the number of repetitions necessary to truly become a significantly better angler, rod user, teaser, whatever they want to be on the crew or on the boat or in the cockpit. Whatever they want to be, they have the opportunity to become that, because there are so many fish. There are so many opportunities. And the only real way to teach fishing, like I have these micro courses where I'm giving like firm foundations on tackle rigging and knowledge on reels and all of that. But the only way to truly become a better fisherman is to practice, right? So this is why this Galapagos experience is so supreme for anyone that wants to learn how to bring a fish in quicker, be a better angler, even just like holding the rod and reeling, for tournaments, anywhere from moving lines in the cockpit to hooking your own fish, hooking a fish on the inside of the turn when your line is completely slack. Like that's a really challenging bite to secure on a circle hook dead bait. And we can definitely get you to that part where you're going home, going to your tournaments, your tournament team, and just knocking it out of the park. So sorry for my rant. I'm just so excited. This is just so cool. And also, if you want to go fly fishing, Jamie's your guy, because that, like I talked on earlier, is one of the coolest things. It is one of the coolest things you could ever see. Or you can do a mixture. You can do a mixture of all of them. And so we also have the big blue marlin fishing off of Isabella, where you've got 130s, right? And you're going to be fighting out of the chair, so we can teach you
130 bend butts in the chair with the harness, teaching you all about how to fish that, pull lures, rig those lures, and how to set your spreads, and how to hook those fish, drag settings, fighting drag, how to changing drag on the fight depending on how the fish is behaving. All that kind of stuff. How to find these fish, what speed to go at, what we're looking for, and staying calm when there's a 500-pound fish going nuts around the boat. It's another thing to deal with.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
So as hands-on as you want to be, even with the tackle preparation, just like Jamie touched on, like rigging lures is a big part of it. And tying the knots for the tippet, whatever it might be. Jamie, can you tell us a little bit about our crew in the Galapagos? Because we know they have to all be Galapagosian.
Yeah. Galapagonian.
And I don't know if that's right, y'all. I'm running with it.
From the Galapagos, yeah. I think that's the safest one, from the Galapagos, yeah.
Will you tell us about our crew?
So the boat is called Patricia. It's 37 foot. It's owned by a family. It's actually named after the family's mum. It's very sweet. And their one son is the captain. That's Yuri. And then his brother Iron is the first deckhand. Second deckhand is called Wilson, who's also the National Parks observer. So he works in the National park service as well. He has to be on board legally. And then we have a chef, Juan Carlos, in the galley, who whips up, up to the ceviche and shrimp tempura and fresh fish.
Oh my gosh.
From the galley for lunch every day. Again, we've kitted out nicely, really nice fighting cockpit, good chair, excellent rods and reels, heavy technos and tails for rods, fish, fly gears, very high-end, serious reels, Shilton reels, sage rods. Yeah, everything's made to catch these fish properly, right? Tackle failure is not an option, not an excuse. It's just poor planning, so you don't allow that. Yeah, very cool operation.
Man, that's amazing. So everyone's from the Galapagos. The second mate is actually a professional wildlife guide. So he has all of the information on all the birds you're seeing, all the critters you're seeing, what there is to do around the
what dolphin that is, and what albatross that is, or what booby that is. Tell you how the sea lions behave, and they see everything. You see whale sharks and orcas and humpbacks, grey whales. I see turtles sitting there and their seagulls kind of standing on them. I've got a great photo of that. I'm just chilling, it's just magic. Everything very, very special ecosystem to be. It's a real privilege to fish there. It's so special.
What I'm hearing is that it's like living an episode of National Geographic, while also getting to go fishing for some of the best bites on the planet. And also, when you're done, you can go snorkel with penguins and catch a wave. What is this place?
I know. You're right. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's amazing. And then you've got Juan Carlos with the octopus ceviche and the shrimp tempura. Come on. This is so incredible. Now, this boat itself, it's an outboard boat. Can you tell us a little bit about why?
300 outboards. There's been thoughts about trying to get diesels into the Galapagos. There's actually a bit of a diesel boat graveyard, marinas. People thought about bringing diesel sport boat there, and the fuel is just so filthy that all the turbos go, and there's no marina to actually pull your boat out, do work on the engines or anything like that. Galapagos. So outboards, you can manage the dirty fuel, you can beach the boat at low tide, and your engine maintenance, oil changes, all of that stuff much more easily than count with the diesel.
Yeah.
So that is why we fish those. It works.
But you can still do everything you need to do from I have very limited fishing off of outboards, fishing experience off of outboards, because I've just always been on diesels.
Yeah, so backing down is another story. The captain works very hard to get that right. I've fished a lot of outboards. Not easy to back down hard on a fish. But we do a lot of bow lining instead. So we actually chase the fish going forward and get the angle of the chair. Specifically for the big breeze, or if you're stand up fighting, you're standing up on the gunnel and facing forwards, come around on the fish. So it's just using different tactics, really. But it works fine.
Just because you're using different tactics, though, doesn't mean that you're really changing techniques as an angler, correct?
No, they're doing the exact same thing. We're just kind of catching up with the fish and getting line back on the reel by going forward instead of backwards. Pretty much.
Right.
What we're doing.
Which a lot of we've often chased fish in forwards anyway.
Yeah, obviously running out of line, it's a much faster approach.
Yeah. Yeah, but that'll teach you a lot about picking line up, understanding the difference between when your line's leaving the reel, the difference between the pressure of the water on the line causing the line to leave the reel, and the pressure of the fish leaving causing the line to leave the reel. There's a very big difference, and getting that skill set of keeping your line out of the water, lifting your line up out of the water as you're reeling is super important. And this will definitely teach you that for sure. Wow, yeah, that's amazing. So you guys, if you're interested in booking a trip with us, we have a couple spots left for this coming spring. In April, we're booked up for May. But if you're interested, shoot me an email. I'll put my link in the description below, katie@kdcsawyer.com. Pretty darn easy. Shoot me an email if you're interested. Send me a DM on Instagram if you're interested. If I don't respond, sometimes it glitches, so definitely just shoot me the email. But Jamie, let's go back to your childhood in Kenya. Where are your parents from? And also, how did you get to, like, what's your journey of becoming a man that is funded on fishing?
Okay. So my parents were actually born in Kenya as well. So my grandparents moved there after World War II, I think. Yeah. And then my parents were born there. And my sisters were born there. So I always had the fly fishing in the mountains for trout and the offshore fishing holiday. Then I went to boarding school in England when I was 7 years old. So then I really got into the trout. So I'd go home to Kenya most holidays. So I'd go do the billfish. But I had a chance on the boat, my uncle or something. Caught my first sailfish when I was 12. Cool. Then, yeah, kind of continued like that. But I always kind of had this mix of fishing. So I would fish wherever I could. So in my 20s, I fished in India and just anywhere in the world I could catch a fish. So I wanted to go there.
Is that when you started guiding?
No, so I didn't even know I could earn money as a fishing guide. Didn't even know that job existed, actually. So we were fishing in Slovenia. I went for my mum's 50th and I had to run away for a day on a river. I saw a lodge. I could work there. So I sent the lodge owner an email and I was like, can I come and learn to be a guide? I'll work free, just kind of pay for my food and board, and I'll work for free. He was like, you done a guide course? And I was like, what's a guide course? What are you talking about? He was like, no, they do fly fishing guide courses in the States. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out. He was like, yeah, let me know when you've done it. Get back in touch. So I found one in Montana. I was like, I've got to go here. Watching river runs through it since I was a kid. All that trout fishing paradise. So I booked the course. Borrow money from my sister to go. 22, 23. Awesome. Yeah, that was a special experience. Learning how to do trip boats down rivers, walking in Yellowstone up rivers with bison next to it, carrying bear spray.
Oh my gosh.
What
a magical place.
Fishing. Yeah, really special.
Mm-hmm. That is very so cool.
Then I came back to England. I was working in the city in London in an office, like doing procurement. And then I was actually doing my degree part-time while I worked. So I kind of wanted to quit and go fishing. My mum was like, no, you need to finish your degree first. I was like, okay, that's a deal. So I was 24, 25, got my degree, resigned, left to work fishing in Kenya.
What'd you get your degree in? Sorry.
I did my degree in systemic thinking.
Huh.
Most people haven't heard of that one. It's like holistic. It's like holistic management consultancy.
Okay.
The world as a system, like how everything fits is something else. The repercussions of that, and then how to change the systems to make them better. Yeah, it's a cool degree. It's definitely life skills. Once I got that, I went to Kenya, and my uncle let me use his boat for 6 months, fishing every day. And then, started building a business, taking people fishing. And then I got offered a job in the Bahamas, managing Bear's Lodge, a Fish Lodge. I ran that lodge for 18 months. Just
where in the Bahamas?
South Andros.
Okay.
So we had a team of 6 guides and black skiffs, 12 guests. Getting them all catching bonefish, super, super amazing. That was really where like saltwater fly fishing merged. I got to spend a lot of time on the flats, starting to understand currents. Guides were incredible. They corrected my casting. It taught me a lot. That was very cool. Then from there, I was very lucky. Oliver, the guy I worked for, Oliver White, sent an email to the directors in the Seychelles at Alphonse Fishing Company. Recommended me and I got the job. I did 3 seasons at Alphonse, guiding offshore and on the flats. That was a very magical spot. That was really special. Then after that, I came up with this plan. Slowly built it, but COVID obviously got in the way and other stuff got in the way. But eventually it's running now. It's cool.
That is so cool. Wow, what a story. I love it. I think it's so fascinating how many people that have devoted their entire there's so many people that go fishing, fall in love with it, and then just devote their entire lives to it.
That's something
that happened to me.
Something inside you. I don't know how to describe it. I've definitely had moments where I've fallen out of love with it too, right? It hasn't always been a pulsing heart. After 3 years in the Seychelles, I was like, a little break here for a little bit. And then it kind of comes back around,
Yep.
So, but it's just, I don't know. I think we're very lucky to have this thing that drives you in life. I can't imagine not having that. It must be quite hard to have that inside you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucky.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. After 8 years of living abroad on a sport fishing boat, I was definitely kind of over it. But then as soon as I'm not doing it, I'm like, can't wait to go back.
Yeah, you just need 6 months off and you're like,
I need
okay.
it in my blood.
Let's go, yeah. Fishing now.
6 months is a long time. Okay, UK.
Go trout fishing in those 6.
There you go. I love it. Or hunting. Yeah.
Or hunting or surfing. Or you know what I mean? Go do another hobby that's do with
all the other amazing things.
Yeah.
That help you respect the natural world around you. I feel like being a fisherman is what really brought me so much closer to the natural world. My education background is in natural resource conservation, game management, environmental science, but getting out there hunting, fishing is what really connects me to the space. It forces me to pay attention to what's going on around me and to understand what's going on around me, which I think is
really
something
connect you with it. It does. It's meditative. It takes you away. Nothing else matters, right? You'd be having a terrible day or whatever, and you go fishing for a few hours. All of that goes away. Come back. Yeah, a different person with a plan, whole new attitude. It's
yes, you weren't even thinking about this issue, but when you come back, suddenly it's not an issue anymore, and you know exactly what you're going to do. I feel that all the time. I feel that all the time. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, okay. When people ask, what is it about fishing? I'm just do you like going on hikes? They're like, yeah. Do you like nature? Yeah. But how about we go one step further? Let's interact with it. What do you mean? I was like, well, you've got to trick this fish into eating your fly. Well, how do I do that? I was like, well, you've got to look at the insect. What's hatching? How's the fish behaving? What's going on there? Start dialing in to that environment. Then you start becoming successful, right? The more you connect with nature, the better fish you can be. And that's just such a beautiful learning adventure. I think. It's so nice to show it to people, what these forces also are about. Come and interact with this amazing world we have. It's very cool. I love it.
Yeah, and learn so much about it. We're here to really, I don't know, a lot of times when people go bill fishing, have the opportunity to go bill fishing, they don't get to really connect to what's going on just because most of the time the crew is doing everything. And like we touched on earlier, the crew's too busy to really explain what they're doing. And it's very easy for people. I mean, some people really enjoy just going and turning off and sitting on the mezzanine all day and having a beer or whatever. Power to you, like, to each his own. But like having that opportunity to really learn is something that I think a lot of people either want or don't know that they want. Just the connection, and to take it one step further, like the water color, the water temperature, what the currents are doing, what the moon is doing, you know, how that affects you in that specific habitat, what the birds are doing, and how that varies in different locations. Like there's so many moving parts that forces you to really pay attention to what's going on around you. And
absolutely. And then you switch species and it all changes.
It all changes.
Want to go catch a tuna, we got to think differently now. Got to go catch a wahoo, got to think differently. Catch a dorado, think differently. Catch a giant blue versus a striped marlin, got to think differently. Like, got to approach it differently. It's a never-ending learning journey. Like, pick a different species. It's another tactic. It's just so cool. Just the diversity.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And I think there's something really primal about that. About like being forced to figure out the how and like the how of the natural world, you know, like being forced into that space in the outdoors and
connecting with nature's rhythms. That's the line from River Runs Through It.
Oh, I like that. Connecting to nature's rhythms. Ooh,
that's a good one.
Deep. Yeah. Jamie, I don't think we talked about, going back to the Galapagos, I don't think we talked about what that looks like for any guests that might be coming in, what is included in the cost, what's not, what they would be responsible for. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, so we offer like a full service. So the clients would start with a bit of back and forth, kind of get their itinerary right and plan that kind of trip they're looking to do, whether that's a combination of the giant blue marlin, Isabella with the striped marlin, San Cristobal, or they just want to do one or the other, totally fine. Whether they want to do a course or not, what they want that course to be about. Is it fly fishing? Is it pitching? Is it heavy tackle? Is it all of it? So, we design all of that for them, and then kind of the level of accommodation they want, like high or mid-end hotels, work all that out. Price it for them. So it includes everything once you get to the Galapagos. So your airport transfers, your hotel, your breakfasts and lunches on the boat, the fishing. It doesn't include your dinners. You dinner at the local restaurant, which are all very good. And when you arrive in the Galapagos, you pay your park fees, your dollar cards to get it. We offer, and then the courses we get very into. We have a syllabus that we follow courses, so you're going to learn everything there is to know about whichever particular course you want to do, whether it's the bait and switch, or flight tackle, fly, heavy tackle. So it runs. So yeah, that's literally awesome. Once you get there, you're in our hands. You can kind of just sit back and enjoy.
So the guest needs to pay for a park fee, which is $200 for the trip.
Yeah.
And then like a customs baggage thing is like $20.
$20 is $20. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then the dinners every night.
Exactly.
Perfect. And that's it. And everything else, airport transport, fishing, breakfast, accommodation, lunch, it's all included.
Absolutely. Lunch is on the boat. Tips are not included, so obviously leave your tips as normal. Bring cash for that so the crew gets it directly.
What do you recommend on number of days for a trip like this? Like, what's a minimum number of days and how many people?
So for the striped marlin fishing, we offer a minimum of 3 days. I would recommend doing at least 4. I've done 3-day trips with people and they want to do 4. So they want that extra day. Also, if you're flying all that way and you're there, like, you may as well do another day. Like, at least 4 days. Isabella, because we're not seeing 20 giant blue marlin a day. We're seeing 1 or 2 or 3. If that's happening, like you want to do at least 5 days fishing Isabella, maybe 6. Is what I would recommend.
Somebody like hit a hammer outside, and my dog's really upset. So I'm trying to get him not to bark.
Okay, fair enough. That's okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's such a far trip. And just to have this opportunity, like you said earlier, I believe, because you guys, Jamie and I actually had a pretty good amount of conversation, and I forgot to push record.
Yeah, we actually did a really good podcast, and then we still we're trying to remember what we've said and what we haven't said.
Right. I'll take full responsibility of that. It's the first time and hopefully the last time it ever happens. But yeah, so I think Jamie said he always recommends that people stay a couple extra days just to get to experience the nature that is the Galapagos.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's some really incredible hikes, snorkeling. You mentioned manta rays, penguins, surfing, all of that. And that's definitely something that we can help organize for you as well if you're interested. If you've got family members that want to come with you, but also maybe don't want to spend every day on the boat, that's fine. We can work out a really, really cool itinerary for anyone. So, yeah, that's absolutely amazing. Jamie, do you have anything else you want to add?
Just I don't know if we've said this already, but to have a part of the world where you can go and see 20 marlin a day on average on one side and catch them on a fly rod or pitching, then you can just pop over to another island and target 500-pound plus blue marlin. It's, within a day's fishing of each other. It's a very unique place that you get to do that in. Well, the fact that exists, number one, is amazing, and the fact that it exists in the Galapagos Islands with everything else they bring. They walk down the street and there's sea lions sunbathing on the benches, and there's rays and turtles in the marina. It's just really special. So when you put it all together, like the overall experience is, like, I can't wait to get there. I go once a year, and it's magical. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I think, it's everyone should see the Galapagos once in their life. Even if they're not fishermen, they go there and do the nature stuff and see it and snorkel and just experience that somewhere on this planet is like that. And then if you like fishing, you like catching marlin, then you've got to go there at some point. But can't miss that. So,
oh my gosh.
It's magic.
I'm so excited. This is so cool. Jamie, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And you guys, let us know if you're interested. It's the opportunity of a lifetime. Just like Jamie just said, everybody should go to the Galapagos at least once in their life. He looks forward to it every year, and I'm going to be doing the same. But we got a lot to offer you. So if you're interested, shoot an email. It's not a big deal if it doesn't work out, but we can definitely make it happen. All right, Jamie, thank you so much for your time today.
No problem at all. It's really good to chat.
And that's a wrap. If you enjoyed this conversation, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to shoot me an email if you want to know more information about fishing with me and or Jamie in the Galapagos this spring. As always, don't stop chasing your wild, and we'll be seeing you out there in the Galapagos.